don't wanna talk on the phone. Don't need no friends, I'm good on my own. Started from the bottom, want that to be known. Been through a lot, and I'm grown. Bad to the bone, getting in my zone, sitting on my throne.
So, I've been living in Toronto since 2004, so that would make it around 17 years at this point. 17 years is a long time. I moved here when I was a little kid, so I really got to experience Toronto through, childhood and then teenage years and now early adulthood. I feel like I have a good grasp of what the city has to offer, and I've experienced a lot of what the city has to offer. So in this video I want to talk about what's living in Toronto like, and ultimately why I think that living in Toronto sucks. Now, straight off the bat, the main reason why living in Toronto sucks is because it's so expensive here. The cost of living is very high, but specifically the cost to buy a house, buy a condo, or even just to rent an apartment costs a lot of money. And it's to the point where, it's pretty normal these days for people to live, with their parents until their 30s. Like, that's very common. I know a lot of people that do that. And to me, honestly, that's pretty crazy, because you can't really become your own person and just learn who you really are while living with your parents. You still, in one way or another, a child. So that's just the first problem, right? Like, if you can't even afford to get your own place in the city, then obviously there's the issue there. The counter argument a lot of people say is that in Toronto there's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of restaurants to go to, a lot of bars, a lot of clubs. There's just always stuff to do. And I'll give you guys that. Like, Toronto, you won't be bored here. There's so much stuff to do. But the problem is that if people living here can't even afford to have their own place to live in, how can they afford to do all these leisure activities? So what ends up happening is a lot of people, especially young adults, find themselves in a position where you have to give up one. Either you give up having your own spot, or you give up going out and going to cool places and experiencing stuff because it's so expensive. And I don't think you should have to make that choice. I really don't. I think that you should be able to have your own spot, and that you should be able to go out and be able to afford both. You don't have to go crazy, but at least be able to go out twice a week with your friends and go to a nice spot. I don't think that's something unrealistic to ask for. But living in the city, you have to make that choice. Like, I know a lot of people, they'd be 28, 29 years old, some 30. They go out 2 or 3 times a week to cool spots that Toronto has to offer, but they're living with mommy and daddy. How does that make any sense? I know other people, they have their own spot around the same age, 28, 29, 30. They have their own place, but they don't go out because all their money goes to rent and just living expenses. Now, obviously, if you're making close to $100,000 or even higher, this is not an issue for you. But how much of the population is really making that amount of money? That's a lot of money. And then if you want to go even deeper, how many people, in their 20s are making that, even less? So I don't think that it's a good quality of life where you have to sacrifice either, a social life or having your own place. And I certainly don't think it's a good thing that people here have to live at home with their parents until 30s. That's ridiculous from my point of view. So, that's just the main problem with the city, is the price. But the second thing that I'll add is that the reason why Toronto sucks is also because there's a lot of people here. So at times the city can feel very overcrowded. Like if you drive somewhere, you'll end up being stuck in traffic a lot. And just say if you take the bus or you go on the subway, you'll end up just being in a bus or subway that's packed with people. You feel like a packed sardine because so many people got to get to places, you know? So at times it can feel very overcrowded. And because the city is so expensive and because there's so many people living here, I feel like it's hard to make genuine connections with people. I find that most interactions I have with people are very superficial. Obviously, with my personal friends, that's a different story. But I feel like because there's so many people, it's so expensive, everyone is in kind of a competition with each other. And they're just trying to be, see themselves succeed. So at times you find people are very selfish here and self-centered because you have to be to get ahead in the city. You know, I've lived in different cities in the world. I've visited different cities. I've visited different countries. And I've noticed that other places, a lot of people are more friendly and outgoing and more social. But people in Toronto are very selfish, self-centered, cold, you could call it. That's been my observation, at least, you know? You know, those are the main things. Those are the main things, you know, like the price, overcrowding, and the fact that, you know, people are kind of self-centered. Now, you know, there's a couple other small things I can mention, but those are the three things why I think living in Toronto sucks. And I genuinely believe that if you live in a city that's slightly smaller population-wise compared to Toronto, doesn't have to be, you know, a country town, but slightly less people, and you're able to afford your own place, I feel like your quality of life would be a lot greater. That's my opinion, at least. Now, you know, I'm so grateful to live in Toronto because, you know, I live in Canada, which is a first world country, so like obviously I'm super grateful and get that out the way. But if you're considering potentially moving to Toronto, I hope that you are able to take what I'm saying and actually, you know, take the time to do your own research and you know, not just brush it off what I'm saying, because I've been here for 17 years, which is not a short amount of time. So obviously I know some of what I'm talking about. Now, you might have a different opinion if you're the type of person that just go, you like the concrete jungle and more like New York style, might suit your needs. But personally, I think that the majority of people would have a way better quality of life living in a city, like I said, with less people, where you can actually afford more stuff. So that's my 2 cents. If you still want to live in Toronto, well, hey, you do you. Everyone's journey is different. But me personally, I'm at a point in my life now where I'm trying to transition out of this city and into a better spot. So I hope this helps someone out. And yeah, thank you very much for, you know, taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Hope you all the best. Take care of yourself. Peace.